Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Yeah, this is where we take, articles, research, your sources, our notes, and really boil it all down.
Get to the core stuff, right? The key insights, the surprising bits.
Exactly. We want to give you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, maybe find a few laughs along the way.
Definitely.
So today, think about American music. That huge, vibrant landscape.
Mm-hmm.
How many of the sounds that built it are sort of, well, forgotten? Or lost, maybe.
It's true. We focus on the big names, the big genres, but so much foundational stuff came from unexpected places, real ingenuity.
Right. So that's our mission today. We're diving deep into some of these quote-unquote lost genres that really shaped American sound.
And we're going to put a special lens on one in particular, Hokum Blues, which is, well, it's unique.
Oh, it is. We're pulling from some great sources like that article, 19 Lost Music Genres That Help Build American Sound, and other research, too.
Yeah, we'll pull out the key details, show you how it all connects, even to music today. Expect some moments.
Okay, let's get into it. This idea of American music's roots.
Mm-hmm.
So often it starts with just making do, right? Resourcefulness.
Yeah.
Like jug band music.
That's a perfect example. Picture it like 1900s, urban South, Louisville, Memphis.
Okay.
You want to make music, but instruments,
Sure.
expensive, hard to get. So what do you
How do
do?
you grab whatever's around?
Exactly. Ceramic jugs, washboards, kazoos, beat up old guitars. That was the start of it.
And the jug sound itself, how did that work?
You literally buzz your lips into the mouth of the jug, kind of like playing a brass instrument creates this cool, low sound.
Wow. So who are these musicians?
Mostly African-American vaudeville performers, medicine show guys, playing on street corners, parties, riverboats on the Ohio.
And the music was a mix.
Yeah, a blend of blues, ragtime, early jazz. Really lively stuff.
But this wasn't just a small thing, right? It got pretty
Yeah.
popular.
Hugely popular, especially in the 1920s, early 30s. It's deeply tied into how the blues developed. And its influence, I mean, it's foundational for bluegrass, country, blues, Americana. So much roots music owes something to it.
Okay, here's a surprising bit then. That song, Walk Right In,
Gus Cannon's tune, yeah.
was a #1 hit for the Rooftop Singers in 1963.
The only time a jug band song topped the charts. Isn't that wild?
It really is. And didn't you mention Jerry Garcia?
Oh, yeah. Before the Grateful Dead, back in '64, he was in a jug band. Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions.
No way.
Yeah.
Jerry Garcia
Yeah.
from a jug band. Okay, mind blown already.
Right. And that same kind of DIY energy, that creative chaos, and you see it even earlier in New Orleans, like the 1890s, spasm bands.
Spasm bands.
Yeah, street kids, basically, using homemade stuff like cigar box guitars, washboard drums, just pure spontaneous music making.
Amazing. So you have this grassroots creativity bubbling up, but then the industry starts noticing, right?
Exactly. That's the next big shift. By the 1920s, the record companies realized, hey, there's money to be made from black music.
Okay, so how did they approach that? How did it actually work?
Well, they created this specific category they called race records.
Right. That term,
Uh-huh.
obviously very problematic now.
Extremely. But you have to understand the context. Back then, it was actually kind of revolutionary. It was the first real systematic effort to record and market music by black artists for black audiences.
Ah, okay. So without that push, maybe some legendary artists wouldn't have been recorded.
Quite possibly. Think Bessie Smith, Louis Armstrong, Ma Rainey, Blind Lemon Jefferson.
Yeah.
These records got their music out there nationally in a way that might not have happened otherwise.
So it really built the foundation for a lot of the music industry.
Absolutely. Distribution networks, recording techniques, even how artists were developed, it all got a massive boost during that era. Honestly, when R&B emerged in the 40s,
Yeah.
it was basically race records, just rebranded with better marketing. Same infrastructure, same lineage.
Fascinating. Okay, so we have the DIY ingenuity of jug bands,
Mm-hmm.
the commercialization with race records. But what about that mischievous side you mentioned?
Ah, yes. Let's talk Hokum Blues. If blues is the soul, Hokum is maybe the mischievous cousin, the one telling jokes at the back.
Uh-huh. I like that. So Hokum was about humor, naughtiness.
Definitely. It's a specific style of blues that heavily relies on extended analogies, euphemisms, basically clever ways to talk about sex with a lot of humor. It was often pretty bawdy.
And people like this.
Loved it. It was hugely successful commercially in the 20s and 30s. And, you can still hear echoes of it in modern blues, even blues rock sometimes.
What was going on culturally that made this kind of thing take off?
Well, think about the Roaring '20s. Big social changes, people moving to cities, prohibition making nightlife kind of secretive and, well, maybe more permissive in some way.
Right, the speakeasy culture.
Exactly. And Hokum's roots are also really deep in African-American vaudeville and minstrel shows.
Ah, where performance, humor, clever wordplay were key.
Precisely. So it really blossomed in urban places like Chicago, where those rural blues traditions met this more commercial, stage-focused environment.
And a big part of this was something called signifying, right?
Yes, signifying. It's a crucial concept. Basically, using double meanings, indirect language, to say something different, sometimes the opposite of the literal words. It has deep roots going back to slavery as a way to communicate coded messages.
Like the example people often use, the song Wade in the Water.
Perfect example. On the surface, a religious song about baptism.
But the hidden meaning
Was advice for escaped slaves. Get in the water to throw the dogs off your scent.
wow. So Hokum artists use that same kind of technique.
They did. They used metaphors and wordplay to get away with really explicit stuff. And if anyone complained, the performers could just say, hey, I don't know what you're thinking. You must have a dirty mind.
Uh-huh. That's brilliant. Can you give us an example, like how explicit did it get?
Oh, it got pretty direct. Take Lil Johnson's Meatballs from 37. The lyrics go, got out late last night in the rain and sleet, trying to find a butcher that grind my meat. Yes, I'm looking for a butcher. He must be long and tall if you want to grind my meat, 'cause I'm wild about my meatballs.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's not subtle. Even
Yeah.
now, that's pretty bold.
Right. And who are the big names doing this?
Well, the absolute kings were Tampa Red and Georgia Tom, often called the Hokum Boys.
The Hokum Boys. Their big hit, It's Tight Like That, from 1928. It was a phenomenon. Sold maybe 500,000 copies during the Depression.
That's staggering. What made them work so well together?
Tampa Red was this incredible slide guitarist, really smooth. And Georgia Tom, he played piano and wrote a lot of those super clever, witty lyrics.
Okay, but Georgia Tom, this is where the story takes a really wild turn, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. This is maybe one of the most fascinating pivots in music history. Georgia, Tom Dorsey, later becomes Thomas Dorsey.
The Thomas Dorsey.
That Thomas Dorsey, the acknowledged father of gospel music, wrote songs like Precious Lord, Take My Hand.
From It's Tight Like That to Precious Lord. How does that even happen?
It just highlights this incredible duality, musicians navigating these different worlds, the sacred and the profane, the juke joint on Saturday night, the church on Sunday morning. It was a reality for many.
That's a whole story in itself. Who else was big in Hokum?
Well, you absolutely have to mention Bo Carter. He was maybe the master of the really explicit double entendre.
His song titles alone are something else.
Oh, yeah. Banana in your fruit basket, mashing that thing, Ramrod Daddy, my pencil won't write no more.
Your biscuits are big enough for me. Okay, I get the picture.
Uh-huh, yeah. But here's the thing about Bo Carter. His brother, also a bluesman, said Bo wasn't really a party time guy at all. He was kind of quiet.
Really? So why record all these incredibly raunchy songs?
That's the million-dollar question. Part of it might be, well, radio was heavily segregated then. White audiences weren't likely hearing these records, so maybe there was less risk of broader offense, and maybe it just sold well.
It's a weird paradox. The artist versus the persona.
Totally. And it's worth noting, not everyone in the Black community was thrilled. Some commentators back then, like F.B. Washington, saw these songs as, immoral, even a racist plot by white record companies to sort of degrade Black culture.
Huh. That sounds familiar, like later criticisms of, say, gangsta rap.
Exactly the same kind of debate, decades earlier, but you can't dismiss Bo Carter's talent either. He was a really expressive singer, great finger-picking guitarist, really good with tempos.
So the music itself was solid, beyond the lyrics.
Definitely. And there were others too, like Lucille Bogan, who was known for being even more explicit, like on Shave 'Em Dry, and couples like Butterbeans and Susie, who brought a vaudeville comedy act to it.
Okay, so musically, what did Hokum sound like? Was it just standard blues?
It often used the 12-bar blues structure, yeah, but the feel was different. Generally brighter, more upbeat than, say, Delta blues, less somber, more fun.
More fun. Okay, influences.
You can really hear ragtime and early jazz in there, syncopation, those bouncy piano sounds, lively guitar patterns. It had a swing to it.
And the instruments, mostly small groups.
Yeah, usually duos or small ensembles. Vocals, guitar, piano, sometimes a kazoo or harmonica thrown in. Lots of playful back and forth call and response, drawing on those deep traditions.
So Hokum was huge, but then it faded after World War II.
Yeah, its peak popularity waned. but its influence, huge. It definitely paved the way for what they called dirty blues in the 40s and 50s.
And beyond that, did it connect to rock and roll?
Absolutely, a direct line. It fed right into the rhythm and blues explosion, which of course birthed rock and roll. You can hear Hokum's DNA, its attitude, its wordplay in so much early rock.
Like where specifically?
Well, think about Chuck Berry's lyrics, so clever, often telling stories with a wink, that's pure Hokum spirit, or Bo Diddley's swagger and rhythm, that showmanship, Little Richard's stage presence. That theatrical high-energy performance style owes a lot to the vaudeville roots shared with Hokum.
Okay, I can see that. Did it connect anywhere else, like country music?
Surprisingly, yes. Some artists like the Allen Brothers, the Dallas String Band, they kind of crossed over between blues, Hokum, and early country. And those old barn dance radio shows in the 20s and 30s, they'd often slip Hokum tunes into the mix.
Huh. And what about jump blues?
Oh, direct link there too. Louis Jordan, they called him the father of R&B, the grandfather of rock and roll. His stuff is full of that Hokum energy. Think Train Kept a Rollin'.
Right. And does that influence still pop up today?
I think so. You can hear echoes in artists known for humor, wordplay, maybe social commentary, masked in fun. George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, Frank Zappa. Even in hip-hop, lyricists using clever wordplay, sometimes sexual commentary. The spirit lives on.
So studying Hokum today, it's not just about laughing at old dirty songs.
Not at all. It's a really important window, I think, into how African-American artists used everything they had. Art, humor, incredible innovation to navigate really tough times, to express themselves, to find joy, to speak freely, even if coded.
It really is a testament to resilience, using music that way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that theme, influence coming from unexpected places, it keeps going. Let's talk about the British invasion for a second. Beatles, Stones.
Yeah. Where are we going with this?
Skiffle. Ever heard of it?
Skiffle.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
British thing, right? Post-war.
Exactly. He was basically British kids, teenagers, trying to copy American jug band music.
Get out. Seriously.
Seriously. Using DIY instruments, washboards, T-chest basses, acoustic guitars. It was huge over there in the 50s. Sparked a whole musical revolution.
Okay.
And here's the kicker. The Beatles started as a skiffle group called the Quarrymen, the Rolling Stones. Started playing skiffle. Led Zeppelin members came out of the skiffle scene.
So you're saying the British invasion was basically electrified, evolved skiffle, which came from American jug bands.
Pretty much. That
yeah.
huge wave of British rock was, in a way, America's own folk traditions coming back in a new amplified form. Wild, isn't it?
That is genuinely mind-blowing. Wow. Okay. Any other hidden roots like that?
One more really fascinating one. Sacred harp singing.
Ah, shape note singing.
Yeah.
Huh.
One of America's oldest continuous musical traditions. It's a cappella hymn singing.
Yeah.
Uses that unique shape notation.
And the sound, it's powerful, really raw. People arranged in a square singing full voice, no instruments.
Yeah, it's intense. And its influence reached further than you might think. The folk revival movement in the 60s. Artists like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, they study those old sacred harp songbooks, learned those harmonies. You can hear traces of it in gospel quartets, even some indie folk harmonies today. It's another one of those deep foundational sounds.
It really shows how interconnected it all is, these threads running through everything.
Totally. So when we talk about these lost genres, jug bands, hokum, skiffle's roots, sacred harp, they're not really lost at all, are they?
No, not really. They're embedded. They're part of the musical DNA. They're woven into the fabric of the sounds that came later, the sounds we still listen to.
Yeah, uncovering these connections. It really underscores the creativity, the resilience, the sheer innovation in these traditions. Often born from tough circumstances, using humor, using whatever they had.
Exactly. It's a powerful story of expression.
So maybe something to think about as you go about your day. Consider music not just as background noise or entertainment.
Right. But as this mirror-reflecting society, a way to cope, maybe. A psychological escape.
And a vehicle for communicating really complex, sometimes risky, subversive ideas across generations. Makes you wonder, what other lost traditions, musical or otherwise, might still be subtly shaping our world right now?
That's a good question to leave folks with. Until next time on The Deep Dive.